We have a quorum. We'll call the planning board meeting to order. First up for general information, Mr. Dwyer.
Second, William Cannon.
Here, sir. Am I on board here? Can I make a?
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. Good evening. My name is Bill Cannon. I'm a landscape architect, and I'm working with Kuhn Riddle Architects. And on behalf of our client Desco, I have submitted some information to the board just to verify that we're in good standing with our permit, the special permit that was issued in 2019 for the construction of the small office building out on Venture Way. The plans, as I stated in my cover letter, were approved with the intentions that there would be a kind of a phase one and a phase two kind of construction on it, if you will. Phase one has been completed. All the site work, all the drainage work, all the utility connections, the main parking lot, the main access from Venture Way has all been constructed and is fully vegetated. And now the owner, Andrea Bordenka of Desco, wants to construct the phase two portion of this building in spring of 2024. So the architects have kind of asked me to make sure that, we've got a permit that's in good standing with the planning board. And so that's why I'm here before you tonight, to make sure that we've got pretty much everything in order to kind of continue on with the completion of the project. We will have to, however, go back to the Conservation Commission for the phase two building, because the permit window has lapsed. But we feel that we should be able to do this with request for a determination of applicability, because we're outside the 100-foot buffer with this phase two building addition. And we've kind of planned it that way. So there will only be a little bit of ancillary grading that will just go inside the 100-foot buffer for just about 5 or 6 feet or so, so that we can kind of construct the foundation walls for the slab on grade structure. So there will be the building and then the adjacent parking lot that is on the other side from the wetlands of the building, and then there will be some lighting fixtures that will be put in to finish off the parking area as well. So that's basically it, kind of in a nutshell. And again, we're just kind of like looking for the planning board to verify that we're good to go for completing the project with the phase two part in 2024.
Well, you're lucky because we have a person with the Conservation Commission on board here, so may be able to answer several of your questions tonight.
Okay. Well,
Kyla is the go-to person right now for the Conservation Commission.
Okay.
So.
Hi, William. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
So
yeah. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Well, what I was going to say is, from the planning board end of things, since you actually began and completed work according to the special permit, I think it's still in effect.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Had you not broken ground for 3 years,
Yeah.
and we're coming back to us now to talk about phase one, I think we consider it lapsed, but you have exercised your rights under it. And I did take a look at the plans you sent, and I shared with the rest of the board, and clearly
Great.
The plans,
Great.
all the calculations were for the completed project, phase one and phase two.
That's
So,
correct. Yes.
there's nothing that we didn't know about. So I'll defer to Kayla now.
Okay, so would it be an imposition to request from the planning board, I don't know, some kind of short letter stating as such that that the permit is still in good standing? This is just to kind of cover myself when I'm communicating with the architects and the owner.
Yeah, I can reply to your email to that.
Okay. Okay, great. Great. I don't know if the person from the Conservation Commission is familiar with the site plans to really kind of speak to the whole issue as I touched upon it, but
I don't have the plans in front of me, but the
oh,
project
great.
does sound a little familiar. My question
Okay.
is, are your plans for phase 2 the same as what was permitted by the Conservation Commission originally, or have those plans changed at all?
Those plans will not change. They have not changed. There's no intention for them to change. We want to kind of continue on as per the plans for this phase 2. The architects submitted their architectural package as part of the site plan package, but they didn't get into a lot of super detail on that phase 2 part of the building, because it might change for a couple of people that tenants or whatever, but it is intended to be the exact footprint that is shown on the building. So that, yes, so to make a short story long, I guess, those plans will be built in accordance as they've been approved.
Okay. Yeah, then I think if you start off with the request for determination, that sounds good.
Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't realize that I would get have this conversation, but that's great. We did go out. Mark Reed from Heritage, who actually spearheaded that part of the permitting process with the Conservation Commission, and I went out to the site last week, and we found that everything is very, very much in order as to the way it was constructed. And of course, we were involved in the construction progress of it for the phase 1 all throughout that process as well. But there's just a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done. They left in the silt fence along the right side of the site work, which we'll be removing. We probably won't remove it until phase 2. There are some woody plants that have kind of sprung up within the detention area that some regular maintenance will take care of, and I'll be riding roughshod over that as well.
You want to send me an email and I'll reach out. We can maybe do a site visit once the RDA is in.
Oh, once the RDAs, yes. Yeah. By the way, since this project won't be constructed until we won't get into it until 2024, our intentions is we probably won't submit an RDA until later on in the summer, so that we can kind of maximize the permitting window. If we do it in the springtime, then we kind of shortchange ourselves for 6 months with that 3-year permitting window. So we probably won't get into it until the end of the summer or so. Hope that's all right with you.
Yeah,
You
whatever
said
works.
2024. Do you mean 2025?
I'm sorry.
Sure.
2025. Yes,
Because
next year.
It is the spring of 2024 is only 20 days away.
No, I'm sorry. Did I say that before too?
That's fine.
Okay, so this is a project for next year, next
Okay.
spring, 2025. I have a proposal before the into the architect, and we're trying trying to get on board and get an agreement, a fee agreement with the owner to prepare all the plans that we need. It'll take the architect obviously some time to put together some detailed architectural plans, even just for the construction. Then once we're on board officially, we'll start to schedule things with the Conservation Commission.
I would like to have you bring two things back to your team. One is that obviously the current building code in effect when you apply for a building permit will govern, and it has probably changed significantly since phase one was permitted. And if there are any design changes in the structure, we would like to take a look at them before they get too far down the road. So you said
Okay.
the footprint, we understand the footprint's the same, but we also take a look at what the building looks like.
Yeah, I just okay, fair enough. I mean that's not an issue. What I got from the architects, it is pretty much going to look exactly the same that has been presented. And
I don't want to argue with you in advance, but we've heard that before, and it has not been as represented.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So would I bring the plans, the building plans for phase two before you at some regularly scheduled meeting?
Just like this.
Okay, great.
Email them by the Friday before the meeting. That way Mr. Dwyer can distribute them
Yeah.
to the rest of the planning board.
Yep.
And we can all take a look at them.
Okay, terrific. Okay, so yeah, and I'm sure the architects, Kuhn Riddle does all kinds of building projects all the time, and they got to stay current with the building code issues and everything else. So I'm sure they will again be designing this to meet the building code requirements, and they have to get a building permit for it. So it's got to kind of meet those.
Yep. And in fact, when you email the plans, email one copy of what the building was originally proposed to look like.
Right.
What the new building will look like, just so we can be sure.
Right. So you can compare the two.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And what I will do is I will kind of forward this information to Kuhn Riddle, so that we can kind of keep it in the forefront that we've got a couple of T's to cross and some I's to be dotted here.
Very good. Thank you.
And thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so I guess that's it in a nutshell. I would it be appropriate to ask for the email address for
planning@hadleyma.gov.
Okay, for the conservation
For
agent.
the conservation.
It's conservation@hadleyma.gov.
Trying to be logical.
Easy enough.
Right. Okay, so what is that? Conservation?
At Hadley.
At Hadley. You got it, Mark. Okay.
.com.
.gov.
.gov.
.gov. And your name is what, ma'am?
My name's Kayla.
Kayla? Can you spell that for
Yep.
me, please?
Kayla.
Kayla.
I think if you
the
map
last
name?
the screen, you can
LOU.
see everyone's name.
Briel.
Briel?
Luke Reel.
Loubriel.
Lou Briel.
It should say underneath my icon.
If
Yeah,
you
I don't. Oh, I see. Okay, I see
If
it
you-
now. I'm sorry.
If you move your cursor around, it will show up. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm all set. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Okay.
So of the remaining names that I can't tag to something on the agenda, we have Sam Lombardo, who's up next.
Yes. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I am here at the request of Mr. Dwyer, who I had emailed. We've been going back and forth a little bit. I am a assistant project manager with Adams and Ruxton Construction Company, and we've been contracted through Bank of America for an exterior lighting upgrade at the Hampshire Mall. I had attached a authorization letter from the owner, which was Pyramid Mall of Hadley, Newco LLC. And the plan is to
You're
add
kind
five.
of breaking up a little bit.
Yeah,
Is it? I'm sorry.
your audio is in and out and there's no video, but
Yeah, the video for some reason is not working. I apologize. I haven't done a lot of Zooms on this lately, so. Can you hear me? Is that any better?
Keep
We still
talking.
can't
let
see
you know.
you. Yeah.
Yep. I had the video on for some reason. It's just, oh, maybe there's a little. Okay, I'm sorry. There it is.
there you go.
Thank you. I apologize.
Yeah.
But yes, it's to add 5 light poles where that remote ATM is in that location of the Hampshire Mall. It's where Dick's Sporting Goods is. There's a Bank of America remote ATM there.
Mhm.
And we've been contracted to complete the exterior lighting upgrade for them.
Do we have drawings on those yet on how they're shielded or what their heights are?
I did send a plan that Bank of America has drawn up through their
Yes.
engineering firm.
I sent it around to everybody on February 28th, last Wednesday.
Okay. Will be in my file. 387 Pyramid.
Just a quick question,
there's-
Mr. Lombardo.
Yes,
Nothing to do with the topic at hand, but are you in relation to are you like a Sam Lombardo Jr. or the third?
I am my grandfather was a Sam Lombardo and my uncle Sam Lombardo.
Okay, I knew both of them.
Oh yeah?
I used to work in Monsanto.
Okay. Was this they're from Connecticut. I don't know, is that
Okay,
any relation possibly or?
anyway, back to the
Yeah.
topic at hand.
Small world.
Yep. The drawings, everything looked, I didn't see any issues with them. Anybody else take a look at them, have any comments?
I am looking at sheet LU9.
So you have
And that's the only thing that seems to have an elevation. I don't see if it calls out what the fixture height is. I don't.
it'd be 25 feet above finished grade total on
Okay.
4 of them and 10 feet above finished grade. There's
am I-
2 in an island that's along the road there, 1 behind the ATM, and then 2 in the parking lot.
I don't see any drawing that shows the actual a cross section of the fixture itself and how it's shielded and what the. I mean, I
Are
see
these
the
replacements?
I see the calculations.
Are these replacements or new?
These are new.
Oh, okay. Are they shoebox style lights?
They are photocell lights with the verbiage, but I had pulled up the zoning lighting
Are
part.
they LED?
Yes.
Yeah, because they look like a very slim profile. That doesn't
They
look.
are. They are. And
These are
I could get
simply-
you the exact lighting, and I could email them to you. That wouldn't be a problem.
It would be nice to see a section of the actual fixture just to see how much side spray there is. I mean, we obviously have the calculations.
Are these strictly down lights?
Yes, for security purposes mainly, from what I understand. We do these all over for Bank of America and through CBRE. We're pretty familiar with the process. We've submitted everything to the building department, and they just wanted us to come to you guys to make sure that you had no issue and there was going to be plan approval, I guess, from your end. So, but I could certainly send over any of the information you guys need.
So the orange fixture on LU3, that's the same fixture. It's just orange because there's 4 heads on one pole. Is that?
The orange is out of scope.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So that won't be impacted at all.
That's
The blue
existing.
is where we're going to add.
Okay.
So is the shoebox fixture in, or are you going to send us a picture of it?
I can send you. It's not square. They're more. They're rounded off, curved, so that they're more like a sleek, newer fixture looking.
Well, the shielding is the critical part of the shoebox fixture in as much as that if there is no shielding, so the light will shine more than just downward. We've had objections in the past.
I
So,
can find that out exactly for you and send them over, and we'll get a clear picture of it.
yes, certainly the security is important because I'm sure you're not aware of the former history right on that site. But so are you looking for a vote with Jim? Are we going to take a vote, or are we going to be waiting for the
We probably should wait till we see what the fixture looks like.
Yeah. I'm seeing that, generally you're in the 3 to 4, 5. I assume those are foot candles, maybe they're lumens, but I see right around your focus point, the ATM, we get up around 11, 12. And then it drops back down to that, basically averaging around 4.
That's correct.
All right. And I think the minimum recommended is 1.5 or something to that
One.
effect.
yeah, one off-site? Yeah. So it's pretty well contained there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, it gets down to 0 over at South Maple. Yeah, so I'd be interested in seeing the fixture cut.
I can do that. I'll send it to planning.
Yes. And we meet in 2 weeks. Just join the meeting like you just did.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get it right out to you. No problem. All right. Any other questions? I guess
That's it.
No, that's it.
Bring,
Thank you, Sam.
get a picture of us, the picture of the fixture to us, and you should be all set at the next meeting. We'll give you a vote.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sam.
All right. Next person in, I just have down as Mark.
Mark, you're up. Are you here for anything particular? Going
I'm
once?
here.
Going twice? No comment. Okay,
Next name I have up is David Sullivan.
Mr. Sullivan, you're up. Mr. Sullivan, your voice, you're not muted. Going once, going twice. All right. That one's all done for at least unless he comes back and says something.
All right. So I guess we can go into the green in the Green Gardens.
Okay, Mr. Viano?
Yep. So I just had some questions for general inquiry tonight, and I was just wondering what the board's thoughts would be. I know that we have to continue the public hearing at the end of this month just due to the Super Tuesday being today. So since our last meeting, I spoke with my landlord. We went over a lot of different things and options for myself and options for them, given to be able to actually make something happen here and be able to make some investment into the property to be able to solve all of the concerns that my neighbors had as well as the town had. And what I was able to do is I was able to convince the property owner or the landlord to sell me the property. So with them selling me the property, what I would like to do with the property, and that's what I'd come in tonight to ask the board is if that I would be able to get a temporary concession, which will give me some time to be able to resubmit a site plan approval, where then I would be able to potentially become the owner of the property. And we would bind that with the purchase and sale agreement between myself and the property owner. And what I would like to do with that is I would be moving my business off of the property. I see this property as a great space to be able to add like a 6-unit multifamily building. I've done some research into this type of building and the size of the property and what we'd be allowed to do with the property. By my calculations, and I don't have specifics on square footage, just because with the eminent domain on Route 9 there, the amount of property that's listed online that the deed contains versus what will after the bike lanes added on Route 9. So I'd have to do a little bit more research into there, but though I'd be, according to the town bylaws, I'd be able to have a building that has a footprint of 4,400 square feet, giving me 8,000 square feet of parking to be able to support approximately 6,100 square feet of interior space on the buildings as residential space. And we would also be able to have 6,600 square feet of open space on the property. That gives us our 30% of open space being in the aquifer protection zone. Further, looking towards what the issues that we're trying to solve right now in terms of doing an engineering plan on the site that addresses the drainage. Personally, I think that we do need catch basins or some sort of water management system on the property. I think it's just a good idea. But though, with speaking with my landlord, if they were to implement a system as such, there was just so much stuff that would have to be renovated. So in doing so, if we were to put a new building here, hopefully next year, what I would want to do is I'd like to be able to put a permeable parking lot in with permeable pavers, and I'd have an entire system designed up to be able to maintain the storm water on the property. And what I'd like to, and I was wondering if the town has any thoughts on this. I would also be asking to be able to operate my business on the property until November 1st, and then I'd have everything off of the property. So that just gives me time to be able to more or less find a new home for my business, and also be able to work with because my lease runs out in February of 2025. So I'd be able to then get all the permitting taken care of with the town beforehand, before a sale actually would go through, and I'd be hoping to be able to do the sale in like December of 2024.
I think we're skating awful close to having a public hearing here.
Yep.
So I think I've already advised the other interested parties that we wouldn't be having a public hearing here. So,
We probably shouldn't comment on what your plan is.
Well, we probably should because it's.
No, Joe, no, we can't because it's not a public hearing.
Okay.
Okay, we don't want to comment on it. But I think I can speak for the planning board as one person, but it's probably a reasonable consensus that you have a very good idea, and we would definitely be willing to listen to it at the next planning board meeting and give you a much more firm opinion. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you. And next
And
meeting.
it's not that we don't want to comment tonight, but it's against the law.
Of course. When you say it's a good idea, is it a good idea within the context of the Hadley zoning bylaw as it currently exists?
so let's, I'm going to make a motion to continue, but Jim, I want to just touch base with you because I don't think I have everything down. What are you showing for our upcoming meetings? For
Wait a
the
minute. Let me get my schedule. Oh,
For the 19th, we have Belize, but we're going to move that.
okay. We have Steve Lewis. And we have the zoning public hearings for the zoning bylaws, and we have two admin reviews for the small scale solars. So if we're gonna move the lease from the 19th to another day, then we probably could accommodate in the Green Gardens that night.
Okay. And then when do you have the battery storage
The
application?
battery storage is on the 19th.
That's the public hearing for the bylaw.
That's also a public hearing for Mr. Corbett on Huntington Road. Or Breckenridge, wherever that is.
For the
Whichever street
19th.
it is.
Breckenridge, right?
Breckenridge, I'm sorry, Breckenridge.
Okay, so with Breckenridge and the public hearing on the zoning bylaw, I think that makes it kind of tight to bring in the green back.
Yeah, depending how much we're gonna be discussing, you're probably correct. Because they're both kind of related, those two.
So that would bring us over to April 2nd.
April 2nd. When is Belize going to request an extension to, do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. We could certainly do in the Green Garden is open on the 2nd.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing on In the Green to April 2nd.
4 weeks from tonight.
1 month from tonight. Okay, we got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second by Mark. Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Okay, good.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you on April 2nd.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Steve. It sounds like you've been putting some good thought.
Yep, been busy, and I'm hoping to have a concept drawing and everything for you guys as well. So I'll really be able to put everything together and really be able to articulate my idea to you guys.
Very good. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, just a note. I was at a meeting last night with Carolyn Brennan was there, and she told us in our committee that even if we were unanimous, we still had to take a roll call vote. So I don't know if that's changed, but that's what she told us last night.
We've been doing unanimous votes when it's anything but a unanimous vote, we do
Right.
a roll call. But it's long, we've been under the assumption that as long as it's unanimous, everybody's on the same, everybody says yes.
Yeah, and since we have an attorney on the board, I'll go with him.
I think it's consistent with the spirit of all of this.
Yeah. Okay. Want to start the public hearing on the affordability trust, housing trust?
Sure, I do see we've had two more people join us. Homer Gomez,
Mr. Gomez,
David Phil.
do you have anything for us, Mr. Gomez? Going once,
Okay.
going twice.
He's
Mr.
muted.
Phil, do you have anything? Or are you just listening?
Just here to listen, that's all.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Gomez says he has nothing, just listening. That's fine. Okay. We have a quorum. We'll open the meeting of the Housing Trust. I did not have a chance to talk to the treasurer to see how much money we have in there. Do you know by any chance, Mr. Dwyer?
I do. Let me get a new note page started up for this. We probably should.
Dale, are you aware of what the Housing Trust Fund is?
So why don't we start off by opening the Affordable Trust, and let me take the role of who is here. So the select board representative is Molly Keegan. And the planning board is, as a whole, are the other 5 members. I do not believe, Molly, maybe you would remember if when the last round of reappointment, David had been on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, but was he continued on it or not renewed?
I don't believe he was renewed. I think I replaced him.
Right. I believe he and Christian Stanley were the select board representatives initially.
Mhm.
So it is 6 of us representing the Affordable Housing Trust Fund trustees at this point. Before we do the finances, should we elect a chair?
Do we need a chair? Well, we probably should. We need to have somebody lead it. You're right. Yeah.
I'm going to nominate Molly Keegan as chair.
Come on, Bill.
Second.
I'm going to nominate Bill as chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Motion fails for lack of a second.
Does it have to be someone that sits on the trust fund as a trustee?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be?
Has to be.
Chair has to be? I was gonna nominate Kayla. I don't think it has to be.
I'm sure she will be providing support for this committee as well.
Adding it to my job description right now.
It would look
Bill,
good
I don't
on your
mind sharing
it would look good on your resume, Kayla, believe me.
Bill, I don't mind sharing it, but I don't even have the agenda in front of me right now. So,
All we have is review finances, any applications for funding and other business if appropriate, and set date for the next meeting.
okay, well, I think I can handle that if you guys want to vote.
Since I made the motion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And any in opposition or abstaining?
Yeah, I'll abstain.
Okay, we'll do it 501.
Okay, well, the first agenda item for our meeting is to review the finances. Mr. Dwyer, I understand you may have information for us on the balance in the Affordable Housing Trust.
I do. As of this afternoon, we have a balance of $481,587.
Is that now complete, or at some point we were waiting for something from Barry, I thought?
We are still waiting for a couple of units to sell.
Okay.
So there will be some more revenue in there.
What about the other guy from North Hadley? What was his name?
The Colony is Colony Drive, Peter.
Yeah.
His 66,000 is in there.
Okay.
And on a bright note, we actually that includes $17,255 in interest.
How much, Bill?
$17,255.
And that does not include the housing funding of the CPA. As I recall, that did not go forward merging.
No, we did we moved 100,000 over from
Okay.
CPA.
Okay.
So this basically comes from three sources. It's the contributions from East Street Commons, from Colony Drive, Colony Estates, and from the CPA in 2022.
Well, I'm hoping that it doesn't have to be tonight, but at our next meeting, when we decide to schedule it, it'd probably be good to have a conversation about possible uses of the funds, you know, whether we want to, we'll call it stockpile, until we hit a certain number, if there are any projects, land purchases, consulting. I think there are a variety of uses to move affordable housing forward, you know, for the town of Hadley. And I think it would be a great idea to start talking about, you know, what strategies we might employ.
Yeah.
Well, if someone were to propose a 6-unit affordable unit on Russell Street, completely 6 units, some of the funds might be able to be used there.
Mhm.
And recall at one point in time, we had dedicated some money to people that needed help with rent during COVID, but nothing ever happened there.
Right, all of those funds were returned.
Yes, there are no complete applications.
Yep. Okay, anything else on the finances then?
Nope.
If not, Jim, you said that the next item is the just other items for discussion. I actually have one. I received an email from one of the Hadley Housing Authority members, one of the board members. She was interested in scheduling a meeting specifically to share information about some information that they've learned about opportunities for the Housing Authority to work with the Affordable Housing trustees to, again, you know, kind of move forward additional development of affordable housing. I literally know nothing more than that at this point. The offer was extended to get together. I said I'd be happy to, you know, perhaps next week or the week after. So wherever that leads, I'm more than happy to share that information back with the rest of the trustees in case it's something that we do want to put on an agenda.
I think we should listen to her, see what they have to say.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone have anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I think we have to set the next meeting.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there a minimum, like quarterly or?
Once a year.
The minimum is annual,
Okay.
but I think we can do better than that.
Yes.
So,
Maybe quarterly. Would June be a good time, or you want to do it earlier?
we will be here. We're scheduled to meet on the 4th and the 18th of June.
How does everybody feel about that?
Let's do the second meeting in June 18.
That's almost Juneteenth, but okay, sure.
June 18th? Okay. All right, then there's nothing else? Motion
Wait a
to-
minute.
Oh.
I think we should elect a clerk.
I make a
Is this
motion.
an annual appointment?
I make a motion to appoint Bill Dwyer clerk.
I second it. Even though Linda may not be happy to hear that.
Well, that's the nice thing about this committee. It doesn't increase my meeting schedule.
All right, there's a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions?
No,
Unanimous. Was that no or no abstention?
no abstention.
Okay, so it's unanimous, 6-0. Thanks, Jimmy. Okay, so with that, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, second.
Second by Mark.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, members of the board. We're going to jump into presentation review of the scope of work for the Hadley DLTA 40R Smart Growth Project. If everyone's ready, I'll share my screen. Okay. So this is a draft scope for your review and hopefully acceptance for the project as proposed in your application that was approved and granted. This is to explore the development of Chapter 40R Smart Growth District in town, addressing concerns of adaptive reuse for your commercial parcels and meeting ongoing needs for diverse housing production. The goal being to generate a viable proposal for future town meeting in 2025. Just to review the timeline for this project, this grant is awarded for the calendar year 2024. So the project would need to conclude by the end of December 2024. There are 4 primary tasks identified in the project. I'll review them quickly in turn and can elaborate and field any questions as you see them fit. Our first primary task is to conduct an existing land use analysis so that the board and the committee, the project committee, will have a better understanding of existing land use, examining the patterns of development in town and creating relevant maps to inventory existing uses. Deliverables for this task would be including any of those map graphics and of course a summary report, and then any communications and meeting minutes during the project, this phase of the project. In terms of timeline, this task would likely take a couple of months and should be concluded by summertime.
Kyle, just I went upstairs to get the Town of Hadley production plan.
Oh, yes.
Do you have that?
We should have that on file. I don't have it in front of
You
me.
should have it on file, and that's basically task 1 completed.
All right, so we can first, we'll do our best to make that go further along. We'll update if there's any dramatic changes. But yeah, the more documents the town has created, the faster we can proceed in this first task. Thank you, Joe, for reminding me of that document.
Yeah, actually, Jim was kind of one of the ramrods in this, so he has the information.
Okay, I'll be sure to include that. Thank you. The second task, excuse me, the second task would be to conduct a review of the existing zoning bylaw, including all overlay districts that affect areas where 40R has been discussed. I know that the conversation has been ongoing this last year or so, particularly around or along the Route 9 corridor. This task would include a land use impact analysis, which explores alternative scenarios permitted through an adopted 40R smart growth district. That is a parcel by parcel breakdown of the various scenarios that could occur, depending on how the project committee would like to shape and restrict a smart growth district. Because the 40R application allows for ranges of affordability, 10% to 20% total, and then ranges of density. The land use impact analysis breaks down those different scenarios in all the different permutations at a parcel level. So in consultation with the project committee, once a potential or proposed district is delineated and we kind of know what parcels we're looking at, the land use impact analysis would then start to play out the different scenarios that the committee and eventually the board would need to consider.
Kyle, in task number 3,
yes.
Are you on 2 or 3 now?
I'm still on 2, but we can quickly jump into number 3.
Okay, so, well, whatever it's task 2 or 3, the capacity of the sewer is critical.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that would be, if the limits of the existing municipal sanitary system would be part of task 1 or task 2 to overlay that, because I think that's important.
Somewhere, because
yeah. No, that's a valid concern. I would likely include that in task 1 in the land use, just to draw attention to existing infrastructure and constraints that puts on any proposed development.
Right.
Yeah. The task 2 is much more of the review of the existing bylaws and more of the town documents and ordinances that are relevant. And that task 1 is much more of the planning documents, existing patterns of development, and considerations from various plans, housing production, comprehensive master plan, and the like. So task 3, task 2 would likely conclude around the same time before or prior to advancing into our task 3, which is public engagement. We try to have all of task 1 and 2 complete so that will better inform the engagement process as we reach out to the public. We will plan an event of some form to explore the overall concept and feasibility of 40R smart growth in accordance with Mass General Law. The event should demonstrate benefits of mixed-use zoning, adaptive reuse of existing parcels, properties, and increased housing development. Of course, drawing back to existing town plans, patterns of recent development, and showing in juxtaposition how existing zoning does or does not meet those goals. So that would be a public meeting with a presentation. We'd track attendance. We'd provide a summary of the event afterwards, including documentation of community input, feedback, whatever's provided. Lines of communication, of course, meeting minutes and preparation of that would be included in deliverables. I foresee that that task happening late summer, early fall. It's usually a challenge to engage the public successfully in the summer months. So I'm looking at probably shortly thereafter Labor Day, we would try to have a public engagement of some sort. That also provides us enough time to take considerations and input from the community so that we can accomplish task 4, which would be drafting a final viable option for town meeting. So that could take one of 2 forms. I foresee either zoning bylaw revisions to existing zoning, or a proposal for a 40R smart growth bylaw, which would meet the considerations of the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, including all the requisite materials for a successful application. So depending on feedback and engagement from the public and the considerations from the project committee, that will determine what that final proposal is. That will come to the board, the planning board, in a formal presentation, ideally early December at the latest, absolute latest, late December at the latest. And one thing to stress at this point is if the committee would like to advance a proposed 40R smart growth bylaw, it is advised that we include the Office of Housing and Livable Communities as early as possible in the process so that they can review preliminary maps so that we can ensure that after the town, if the town decides to adopt the bylaw, to ensure a successful application with the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. So we try to get them involved just as the planning board invites and encourages preliminary meetings with proposed applicants. The EOHLC has a very similar approach to their process. Of course, we'll be doing that with consultation and consent of the project committee. And we'll conclude this project December of this year. So this is the scope of work as we foresee it. I'm happy to field any more questions or elaborate on any of the tasks if you would like.
So Kyle, in theory, if we settle on something after the first 3 tasks if there's a plan to go forward with this, that's something we could potentially, at the earliest, bring to a town meeting in May of 2025.
Yes, that's my understanding. Luckily, if that is the will of the committee and the planning board is in support, luckily that bylaw is drafted in December. You'll have plenty of time to review and possibly beyond the scope of this project, field future public meetings to garner additional support from residents.
Oh,
Kyle, excuse me, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Is your plan, if, for example, the planning board doesn't approve of all your public input and a potential zoning change, are you planning to circumvent the planning board if the planning board has some adaptations or some changes, or is this going to be yours to go before the town meeting without the approval of the planning board or any changes they may have?
Right. That is not my intention or the intention of the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to advance a draft bylaw without support of the planning board. I believe that in order to meet the goal stated within the original application for this project, if the goal is to generate a viable proposal related to this topic broadly, smart growth, mixed use, adaptive reuse of those commercial properties, increased housing production, including affordable housing. I think if the project got to December and the planning board was unsatisfied with the proposal at hand, there may be time to revise that proposal to better meet the requests of the planning board. But that essentially creating a viable proposal is the measure of success that I would think this project demands. So the planning board can help define that either directly or through the project committee. We can better define what a viable proposal would look like. The more work we do on the front end and the more collaboration we have with the entire planning board, I think leads to a more successful proposal. And that may take the shape of simple amendments to existing zoning rather than a full smart growth bylaw that would go before the EOHLC.
Wow, Mike Czerzinski here. What was rejected at the Milton Town meeting? Was it a 40R proposal?
To my understanding, if I recall correctly, Milton Town residents voted against a requirement based on I can't remember the MGL, the general law, but it's in regards to your MBTA communities,
right,
that are required to adopt multifamily dwellings by right within proximity to the MBTA.
Correct.
Right. So I'm sorry. Yeah,
I know you're
caught me off guard a little bit. So
you're right. So if Hadley brought this to town meeting and town meeting voted nay, would we be putting ourselves in the same jeopardy that Milton did and be sued by the Attorney General?
I would think not.
Okay.
You're following a different protocol.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We're still under the 10% threshold is if we're above that. we should be in general compliance.
Although, there are many communities around us that don't even have close to the percentage we have, yet it was an executive order that brought the people to the Knights Inn and the Econo Lodge.
Well, yeah, but because other people driving next to us are going too fast and not wearing seatbelts doesn't mean we should too.
No, but we had our seatbelts on, and we were not necessarily driving faster, but we still got pulled over and ticketed.
Yeah, we got ticketed when we were, we had speed control on.
Kyle, can you stop
Okay.
screen sharing so we can see everybody?
Sure, yes, sir.
Okay. We can come back to that if we need to. I just want to
Happy
see
to.
who's anything.
So tell me, Kyle, what are you visualizing as the project committee?
Yes, they're going to ask.
Great question. I would expect a manageable group of 5 or so representatives of the planning board and any other town departments or boards, committees that I think are you as the planning board would like to invite to join. I defer to the planning board to help identify those. But of course, this is a voluntary committee that's formed just for the sake of this project. And as I understand it, Mr. Dunn has successfully been nominated to chair the committee. So in consultation with Mr. Dunn, I would invite representatives from the town to sit on the committee and support. I believe that's minimum commitment would be a monthly meeting of the committee, and then attendance at public engagement events and final presentation with the planning board in December.
You have examples you can share of what other communities have, who they've included on their, I'm assuming there are other communities that have looked at a 40R, like, didn't South Hadley and didn't some other, just be interested in how successful or not they were with including certain or different sectors of their town.
That's a great question. I haven't looked at specifically the makeups of the neighboring communities particularly.
That could be task 0.
Yeah. Task 0. I think intuitively I would consider any housing committee member to sit on this, as that's a critical component of the smart growth district is affordable housing. Any economic development or even any committee representing the interest of infrastructure, utilities, and the like, because this has the potential of impacting those services across the town.
Maybe someone
have
from
a housing
DPW,
economic-
maybe someone. What's that, Bill?
We do have a housing and economic development committee
Right.
that is fairly active. And there may be a role for someone from the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. I think we have some overlap in membership between those two committees anyway.
How about someone representing from the University of Massachusetts Housing? The main concern in our particular area is the fact that the University of Massachusetts has abdicated the responsibility for housing the students. So if we build it allegedly for affordable people, it could be students. So would we be accomplishing the goal that we're looking for?
That's an interesting question to ponder.
I think that's a worthwhile consideration.
I'd call it more than worthwhile. I'd call it a primary consideration.
That's a major concession. Probably.
If it's the request of the chair to come back with, if you'd like us to generate preliminary list of potential committee members, I'm happy to start that work.
Yep. Now, did you say there should be made up the entire planning board or just one or two members?
I think one or two members would suffice.
Okay.
I think the planning board, I would assume that the planning board members that join the committee would be assisting with regular reports back to the planning board to keep everybody abreast of the progress of the project.
Okay.
Remember Mr. Gnotic? He served on the one of the previous committees, Jimmy.
Pardon?
Remember Mr. Gnotic? He was a
Andrew
student.
Gnotic across the street,
Andrew.
yes.
I wonder if he might be interested.
He might be, I'll ask him.
Ask him. I ran into him last night, but I didn't think about asking him about this. Yeah.
Okay.
One other idea, just for consideration, it may be worthwhile to invite a developer, if there is a local-based developer in the town that has either experience or has interest in the topic, that might be worthwhile, just to have insight into the realities of developing these types of mixed-use parcels.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was going to say financing is what's needed after you come up with this plan. And if you don't have financing, you can make all the plans in the world.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone just volunteered, Mike.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Well, I can only volunteer if the rest of the members of the committee help me weed my garden in the summertime.
I will with a wheelbarrow.
There is no regulation that prohibits meeting in your garden as long as.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Very true.
Oh, not if you post it, Bill. Okay, so I will nominate Mr. Dunn to be chairman of this committee.
I'll second.
I was going to say
Any discussion?
absent in a second.
Any volunteers? Other volunteers? Well, that's good. Not surprising.
No, you know,
Unopposed,
Mr. Dunn, would you accept the nomination?
I would accept the nomination.
Very good. All in favor of Mr. Dunn being chairman of the, what do we call this thing, Kyle?
This would be the Hadley 40R Smart Growth Project Committee.
Okay, Smart Growth Project, Smart Growth Committee. Okay, very good. 40, all right.
You know, excuse me, I would just like to say for studying the 40R, the smart growth is kind of an oxymoron when it comes to who thinks it's smart. So
The state comes up with the titles.
I think we
That's
should
what I
have
mean.
Joe. I think
Anyway,
we should have Joe on the committee.
all in favor of Mr. Dunn? Aye.
I
Any opposed? Very well. I don't really want to be on the committee, Mark, but I will attend meetings from now and then as just an observer.
Okay.
Does anybody else want to volunteer to be on this committee?
I'll back you up, Jim. Likewise, not as a member, but because I do know what's going on, I don't mind being involved. But I think we just had a volunteer from Mr. Sarzinski.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
volunteer. I'll be back.
Very good.
I'll be back from Florida full time. I'm here now, but in May, so I
Probably
should be
gonna be
able
by Zoom anyway, so,
Yeah.
to- excuse me.
okay. We don't need, do we need a vote from Mark, from Mike, or just to, no, he can just volunteer, right?
I think so.
Okay. I'll let you know who was on the other committee, Mark, that I was on. I'll
Okay.
get you the names and the title. We had a couple people from the senior housing, some of it observers, some as a backup. And I'll get you their names and position. Maybe they're still interested in this thing too. And I'll see about the Mr. Gnotic, see if he's interested and hopefully get some people going pretty quick because we don't want to be dilly-dallying here. We want to move on this.
Yep.
Jimmy, the names were obviously you were the chair, Sean Barry, Andrew Gnotic, Mark Howard, Molly Keegan, Dave Story.
And Kyle, you're gonna kind of be the facilitator on these meetings?
Yes, I will help facilitate, but also take minutes,
Well,
distribute.
that was my next question,
my
take minutes.
presentations. Yeah, I'll be there every step of the way.
Right.
Mark, you will need to post these meetings in accordance with the open meeting law.
Right.
Okay. Basically, if you depending on the day of the week that you meet, you need to post it, what is it? 72 hours in advance, or 48
Yeah, I like, on our
48 business hours, 48.
on our other committee, we try to get it to Jessica
Okay.
a
So you're aware of it. That's fine.
week ahead,
Yeah. Okay.
And
because then you also have to get a Zoom. You have to get your agenda from, your Zoom on your agenda from Jennifer, and there's a whole process.
I can help you with that.
Okay.
We run these meetings run off of my account, so there's not a conflict with things being scheduled on the town account.
All right. We don't have too many Zooms in one night.
Yeah, I mean, you can get your own free Zoom account, but your meetings are limited to something like 50 minutes.
40
And-
minutes, something like that,
Yeah, and sometimes these meetings can run longer than that, and then they'll cut you off, or you gotta sign off and sign back on, which isn't a big thing, but it becomes a bit of a pain.
Right.
So next steps for the planning board, we will have a community commitment, as this is part of the direct local technical assistance. That's a very small document. I'm sorry I don't have it pulled up to share, but it just requires a signature from the planning board chair, just to state the community's commitment to match in kind 5% in terms of time to the grant awarded.
What was that again, about 5%?
It's a 5% in-kind match as required under the DLTA program. That's just calculated in terms of the time that's provided from the volunteers of the board.
So we'll easily meet that with a 5-member board, a 5-member committee meeting once a month. That will more than satisfy the 5% match.
Right.
Yeah. Just give me an email, what I need to say, and I'll get you an email, okay?
I have a draft document. I'll send it over and you just need a signature.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect, thank you.
And Mr. Dunn, I'll be in touch with you directly to start building that committee and sending out invitations and coordinating our first kickoff meeting.
Sounds good, Kyle.
Yeah.
We'll get along better if you call me Mark. Otherwise, I feel like you're talking to my deceased dad when you say Mr. Dunn.
Fair enough. Thank you, Mark. And that's all I have for you today regarding this topic.
Very good,
All right.
thank you.
And Ken, while you're here, I'm sorry that Molly was not able to stay, but maybe I'll try to work up some way to get us all in contact about participating in the Housing and Economic Development Committee was planning on putting together an informational presentation on housing needs, which I think would fit in very well with the public participation tasks, your task 3, I guess it was. We're hoping to enlist Ken because he can recite stats with great self-assurance.
After, of course, researching it and making sure that I'm providing those factual numbers. But yeah, I'm happy to participate however you'd like, or the board would like. And Bill, if you want me to give you some availability, I can do that.
Okay. Yeah, well, we can do that offline.
Okay.
One question, unrelated, but we're still working on the planning board rules and regulations. Again, I apologize for not having that for you tonight. But I know that the upcoming meetings are very busy, so I'm just curious when you would like that next iteration to be in your inboxes and ready to present.
April 16th is wide open. We will reserve that meeting just for you.
Okay, April 16th. Would you like me or need me?
Is that okay with you?
That's
Are
fine
you
with me.
available?
Yeah, I should be wide open April 16th.
Okay.
Going back to the smart or non-smart growth committee, what do we want to target for a first meeting, like in 1 month? Give us some time to collect other volunteer members, or?
I think that's good. Yeah, it gives us a little time to identify and invite the rest of the committee, and then make sure that we have enough time to schedule an early, convenient availability for everybody.
Would it be okay to have the meeting the same night we have the planning board meeting? And just have it about an hour and a half before, say at 5 o'clock or 5:15? Will it be about an hour meeting, Kyle?
I think an hour meeting suffices, and if that works for everybody to do Tuesday afternoons, Tuesday beforehand, that works for me. But of course, I defer to the chair and other members.
We could tentatively start with that, but I don't want to be locked in and then have people say that doesn't work for me.
I just I hate to have meetings every day of the week, We could just do it. Well, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can develop a scheduling poll and try to help coordinate and find most convenient and accessible times for everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Sullivan? You're just here for information, just here to watch. Dave's just here to watch. Mr. Mark, are you just watching?
Yes, he sent us a message to that effect.
Okay.
We do have on the agenda, I added updates to planning board webpage at Hadley MA. Kayla says she has access now. And I wondered if the first thing I'd propose is we don't even have a list of who the members are and when their terms expire. So that would be a good thing to add. Make sure we have a link to the zoning map and the zoning bylaw. Anything else anyone has, or if anyone else can think of anything, please feel free to contact Kayla directly.
Yeah. I would think you'd want to put on there for planning board information, contact Bill during the day and myself after hours.
I think they sort of have that.
Really?
I think that's listed.
Okay.
What had happened was at one point we had a fairly detailed web page, and then we went to a different provider and they asked us what we wanted transferred over. And we said, everything we've got, and it didn't happen. So we have to rebuild. And unfortunately, we don't have a way of going back and at least I don't think there's a way of going back and finding out what we had, but
is that the same person, Bill, that is accommodating us for a meeting room? That's it.
No, I don't remember what company it was. I think we're three. The town website is on its third provider, or so.
Host.
How's the Goodwin Memorial Library that's supposed to be the home for the planning board coming along?
Well, there's a whole lot of money to be spent, proposed, but not a whole lot of money to use it. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. You got a water tank, a Hopkins Academy geothermal, something with Russell School, something with the Goodwin Memorial,
A CPA,
DPW. If somebody has about, I don't know, a couple $100 million, the town will be willing to grab it. But we're gonna have to do some serious deciding what they spend money on.
well, the CPA money was supposed to be spent on it, and that was even when I was on the CPA committee. So that has been overlooked or shunted aside. It was voted on.
Yeah, the town told us not to continue funding the old Goodwin committee, which was to my dismay.
We'll have to wait and see what is decided by the Finance Committee and Board of Selectmen as far as priorities and where to spend. To be determined.
All right, move we adjourn then.
Anything else, Bill?
I have nothing else.
I have nothing else. Anybody have anything? You're good with Tom? Thank you.
You're going to Joe's?
Yes,
Pick me up.
We have a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is history. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you,
Pick me up,
Kyla.
Zeke.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Alex. And everybody else. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
And Mark, I